Hi there. Just going back from the last two videos made me think of Nikola Tesla, um, probably the cleverest person ever to walk the planet, probably. Um, uh, when you think about the frequencies, how our brains interacting with the universe around us, and it just made me think in 1920, so 25, I think it was, when maybe 30, when Nikola Tesla working on harmonics and he did an experiment underneath an hotel, and he replicated all the frequencies to each building, and it shook them, and it and people outside thought it was an earthquake, but it was Nikolai Tesla. He replicated the buildings in his all he described it as sort of like a radio transmitter. So he was transmitting them through that, and it shook all the buildings. Anyway, it couldn't stop it, and they were still shaking. So he had to put something through the machine and smash it. I don't think he ever tried again. But that was 1920, 2030, and he replicated he could replicate, he's saying, whether it's a chair, frequency of a chair, a building, or anything, even the universe, he could manipulate it so explodes. Uh, what he was trying to do that for, I'm not quite sure. Remember, he was famous for that Philadelphia experiment. He did many great things, but some very peculiar things as well. Um, I'm sure there was a good thing he was trying to do with it. I mean, it was after free energy for a start. I mean, which is, and he may have been thinking if he could get into uh, replicate the space around, the frequency around, maybe he could copy that and bring energy in. I'm not quite sure. Uh, Maybe it worked better than he thought. But anyway, he broke it up. But it just reminds me of what the space around us, and when we see when we hear aliens telepathically, and he's including this MK Ultras in what we and they're still using the same technology to communicate with different people around the Earth from 4,000, 5,000 miles away. So these special establishments are still doing this. So what can they do? What else can they do? Can they replicate a building frequency? Well, I can assume they can. I mean, I was thinking years ago when you, uh, well, going into it too much, but an ionize the frequency, so you actually see an object. Um, I don't think that's too hard to do. I think that's possible to do. So you look up and see, you think it's an aeroplane or a spacecraft. Because I think a lot of these spacecraft, even though I'm a big believer in UFOs, are actually put there, and that's why we don't all see them. Like I always think, ones I've seen, I think, how come nobody saw that? And things like that. It's specifically stopped from people seeing it. It all aimed at one particular or several people, and not others. It's not all genuine bona fide UFOs. I think we have technology to manipulate things, um, and that's again why we a lot of science, a lot of things what's happening we can't really explain. Is people look like it's matrix broken, and it's probably not. It's just science are getting to be so advanced now they can do all sorts of things. Remember, this was 1925 to 1930 when Nikolai did that. So we're looking at 100 years ago. What's interesting about that, you think, what have they done? What have they done, rather, but look at all the patterns. There's been no decent technology from the radio to this day, what's come out. I know it looks like they have, but they haven't. We've got the TV, we've got a microwave, we have a mobile phone, we have a GPS, but all these things are military defense hand-me-downs. Every single one. They play them first, and we get them. So, but since an old-fashioned radio, including the Galena radio, where you didn't need electricity, what significantly have we got? What's frequency-wise? You see, not many. What you can consider what technology goes forward, doesn't go backward yet. 100 years ago, Nikola Tesla was far way more advanced than what we're showing now, and that doesn't work out. You know, by rights we should be 1,000 years prior to that, because and if we've got AI now, they would have AI somewhere 40 years ago, and AI just simply ask it something, and we already know if you get 100 decent scientists, that'll take 100 years, that'll do it in a second. So yeah, it makes you think what they have got. But the harmonic frequency, what Tesla were playing about with, it's just make you think if that's the bit where we can actually probably will eventually hopefully make ourselves better and heal ourselves, and make ourselves live longer, and hopefully stop the starving and everything. It will, but I think it can do all sort of things. But I think it's communication and propulsion system it will come from that, definitely. But Nikola Tesla, he was the king, wasn't he? The sad thing about it, he died on his own in a hotel room. Just awful, awful sad, isn't it? I mean, there's one article I remember reading about where he says he wrote a letter, really private letter to his mum, who passed away years ago, passed before he died. He says he spent all these years, and he says if only I'd spent my last time, spent them with his mum. He could have sat there and had a drinking chocolate, hot milk every night with her, because the human race has just not appreciated him. And it's sad, isn't it? Genius bloke. Bit crazy sometimes, but as you can see, it causing earthquakes. And Philadelphia experiment and that thing with I call it large radium masts. I can't remember the name. He put those right around the world. Russia refused to have one, and the idea was when the lightning strikes them, it was going to bounce all the way round. And but the theory, I always thought the theory was that thing in Russia, when the lightning strike it, because obviously Nikolai was clever, but he couldn't understand how he probably thought the waves were going to bend round, but it didn't. It struck across. And one of the theories that's what caused all that devastation in Russia in 1920s, was it? 30s. So they took it off him and basically put him away for a bit, didn't they? Out the way. Yeah, so it was clever, but he did do a lot of damage. So let's be honest. The Philadelphia experiment, gosh, But did he eventually go on to improve it and make it work? I believe he did. Harmonics again. Incredible, isn't it? 100 years ago. So what can they do now? It was mad on giving free energy. That's what his dream was. He wanted to give everybody free energy, and I think when his backers found out about being free, they pulled plug on him and said, "Oh no, we're making money out of this," and that's what did him. He shouldn't have told anybody. Says what his plan was. Shame. Anyway, true stories. God bless. Bye.